Hey, what's up, Nerf Herders? This is John from the Nerf Herders podcast, the only Nerf Herders podcast. I wanted to do something a little different tonight. I'm actually going to start doing these quite often, but this was going to be the first one in a series of comic book reviews. I know we started making our channel a little bit more multidimensional, and we started cutting down the original podcast time so that we could strictly talk about movie news and movie subjects on the podcast, and then release other videos for various movie reviews, video game reviews, and comic book reviews. So this will be the first one out of many, hopefully. If you guys like these enough, please subscribe to the channel. Please check us out on Facebook, and please give us some ideas on what kind of books that you've been reading, what comic books you're into, characters, things of that nature, and ask me to do some reviews for you. See exactly, what's out there, because I can't really follow everything. I'm busy. I don't have, as much time as I used to. So I'm not reading as many books as I used to. So if there's any new stuff coming out that's awesome, please recommend it. I'll do a comic book review immediately on it, and we can post it to the page. So, without further ado, Marvel, Secret Wars #1. So this recently came out. Marvel has been hyping it for a long time. Basically, last year they announced that they're going to be rebooting quite a few series that came out in the 80s and 90s. We have the Secret Wars, we have the Infinity Gauntlet, we have Old Man Logan, and other things such as that. Now, when this was in the works and people were talking about it and hyping it, I was a little worried because, sometimes with these reboots or reimaginings, if you will, the writers kind of lose focus. They aren't on the top of their game, and sometimes it feels like the originality is lost. But this, I honestly got to tell you, this kind of hit it out of the park. I was very excited to read this because, it basically ties in the Jonathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers, which I was, off and on with. I didn't really follow it to the T, but a lot of the new characters, pulled over from this. So basically, for the Secret Wars, you have the multiverse, the Marvel multiverse, and it's basically collapsing. It's imploding on itself. The entire universe is being destroyed, and that's how this book starts out. So it already starts out kind of with a bang. And if you like Hickman's writing, you're really going to love this. It's probably one of the best books that he's done, one of the best stories that he's done, and everything about this book is actually pretty great. So you have Earth 616, which is the Marvel Universe, and then you have Earth 1610, which is the Ultimate Universe. And these two worlds, these two versions of Earth are basically going to collide. And you have Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange opening the book, kind of witnessing this magnificent event. And then the book just dives right in to basically the entire Marvel multiverse trying to survive. So you have all the famous characters. What I really liked about this book, though, is that they kind of really focused a lot on the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. And I know a lot of people have been kind of on the fence about this because of the Marvel-Fox rivalry. Fox has the rights to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, so a lot of people have been pissed off that Marvel Comics has not been focusing as much on those two entities. So it was really nice to see the X-Men and the Fantastic Four play a very pivotal role in this book. Now, with this review, I'm not going to give any spoilers away. I don't want to ruin the book for you. I don't want to give too much away because I really want you to go out and buy the book, support the writers and the artists, and actually, experience it for yourself. So I'm just going to kind of give you some of my favorite parts of the book, some of the best things about it, and then we'll move on to the next subject. So basically, like I said, the worlds are colliding. There's no ability to stop it. So it's really interesting to see all of these superheroes in such a dire need of assistance. They're not able to do anything about this impending doom that is upon them. And you really see this human-like quality come out in all of the heroes, especially when they can't save their loved ones. Mr. Fantastic has a very emotional part in the book, and you'll see that when you read it, that he can't even save the ones he loves, and he's the genius, right? There's nothing he can't figure out with his mind. And well, Whoops, guess it didn't work out this time. Now, probably my favorite part of the book was the appearance of Thanos, who is my favorite villain in the Marvel Universe. Thanos has a very small role in this book thus far, but he really only says one thing, and it's really amazing because he's kind of there with all the Marvel superheroes, and it's crazy to see these villains and these superheroes side by side, kind of just waiting for their demise. And Thanos says this really sinister, really fucked up line. But it's there is no honor in running from death. People should just know when their time is up, and that really kind of tells you something about the kind of person and villain that Thanos is. That he's come to accept death and destruction, and you know it's basically him accepting his fate, and a lot of people can't do that. So it's really insane to see some kind of realistic moments like that put in this book. But I really loved it. The artwork was beautiful, gorgeous art, amazing scenery. The battles as the worlds are destroyed just look phenomenal. I mean, I can't really show you much, but here's a nice little tidbit from Hulk and She-Hulk. But like I said, the book is phenomenal. Jonathan Hickman is one of the best writers in the business right now. You need to go support the shit out of that dude because he is killing it. So one more thing before we sign off here. I wanted to talk a little bit about this tie-in. It's not really a tie-in, but whatever. It's Deadpool's Secret Wars. So Deadpool is like one of my favorite characters. I know he's like super hyped. Everyone loves him, but I really do like him. I think he's a great part of the Marvel Universe. I think that he's funny. I think he's violent, and I love that. That he is not, Mr. Hero, Mr. Superman that doesn't do any wrong. I love when characters are more realistic, like the Punisher, who actually, the Punisher had a pretty emotional part in the Secret Wars #1. So that's just another reason to check it out. You get to see the Punisher, who is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. But when I'm reading the Deadpool Secret Wars, it's actually really fun, really amazing. And what I love the most about it was because this is kind of Deadpool's accounts of the events that take place, and he actually immerses himself in the 1984 version of the Secret Wars. So the one that I'm used to reading, the one that I grew up with, he immerses himself in. So it's kind of hilarious because, let's see here, in the opening dialogue, you have, the original Secret Wars cast. You have the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Hulk, She-Hulk, you got them all, Thor, Cap, Hawkeye, and they've got their lines of dialogue, which is basically, that really cheesy 1980s comic book vibe where it's, we are here to save the day. And it's really cheesy, but it's really funny because they're mixing that with Deadpool's modern storytelling. So it's basically Deadpool's point of view, his version of the story, basically saying that he was in the Secret Wars of 1984 all along. And he was there the whole time, and this was his accounting of the story. But the writers mix in this story with modern storytelling, which is a little bit more realistic. So it was really cool to see those tie-ins. The artwork is really great. Like I said, it has a nice 1980s vibe. What's really cool is throughout this book, they go from like the 1980s artwork style, and they go straight back and forth between that and more modern artwork, which is really cool to see. So the writers were really able to captivate all of that. The artists were able to captivate everything really greatly. The book is fun as expected, but it's not actually a tie-in. It says it's a tie-in, but it's not really a tie-in. It's more of a reimagining of Deadpool's version of the Secret Wars, which if you like Deadpool, you'll fucking love it. So that is it for tonight. I have a few other books in store for this podcast. Scott Snyder's Witches, which has been really hyped. I've got the first 5 issues, I believe, so I'm going to be, tackling that. I read the first issue, it was pretty good, so I'm going to go back and revisit that and then read the rest and kind of do a little mini review on that series. I want to take a look at the Mortal Kombat X series, and I also want to take a look at some of the newer Marvel books coming out, like Old Man Logan, the Infinity Gauntlet, things of that nature. So if you have any suggestions, anything you want me to review, talk about, etc., please hit me up on Facebook. the YouTube channel, Nerf Herders Podcast. So signing off, this is John from the Nerf Herders Podcast. Peace.